Alright, you guys. Let's get ourselves going. Sorry I'm late. But before we do quite get in today, it's gonna be a little thing. I have about an hour. Maybe I shouldn't be playing this game for it, but I think we can get in and manage to do a few things. I don't have a lot of time because I do have to get off shortly. But one of the things I did today is I tried the new Mountain Dew flavor, passion fruit flavor from Taco Bell. Love that drink. That's actually not a bad drink. So much better than the other drink. Before we quite get going with picking our direction location, you guys can check out this intro.
Cherry blossom paper slice in a Lamborghini view from Tokyo lights to Kyoto station.
Yeah.
Dreams come alive where spirits rise.
I push 50 points off the track, baby.
In Japan, where the sun will always shine, traditions collide with the future's line. Through city streets and temples high, find your story beneath the sky. Waves scratch, pumping out your sense. Harmony flows to the best of lands in the neon glow. Where is spent, the culture rich, where resistance in the morn of grace. Dance the night with every star, a guiding light. In Japan, where the sun will always shine, traditions collide with the future's line. The cherry lanes and
Well, I just
soaring
got myself
heights,
in a
find your
valve already.
magic near the moonlit nights.
Alright, let's check the external market. They only have one here, for it. Yeah, that's the... Yeah, we're gonna take the cargo. So that gives me a little bit more for the price of going the same distance as this. Have we been to that way yet? And have we been to Belgium? That's gonna Slovenia, so let's take... That offers expires... There might be, oh wait. This one's actually a little bit quicker for a little bit less. You know what, let's take this. But one of the things, that I wanted to really come out and say today, is that there's this big thing on what's going on right now. There's major breaking news, major breaking news on somebody that I don't really like. And you guys have probably know what's already going on. It's been talked about through Midas. It's been talked about through absolutely talked about on ABC, CBS, probably even local news in places. Now, here's what I'm gonna tell you guys. You've seen the news. It's so much majorly breaking, and I'm gonna, and as I'm kind of, I should have done the intro. While I was in the intro, I should have switched over. Okay. Um, so one of the things that, if you haven't heard what's been going on, it's always a good thing to pay somewhat of attention to now, I'm gonna tell you, it's a sad reality to see people get hurt, okay? I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's a right-wing pundit. I don't care if it's left-wing. I don't care if it's somebody from around the world that I don't care. I don't care about the what people think that happens. I don't care if these incidences go on. Is an understatement. I pretty much don't like it when people use political violence to basically take it into their own hands and use it to hurt people and harm people. Because it doesn't solve the situation. It doesn't help in any way, shape, or form. There are things that really make things not so great. Now the issue that's been going on, the thing that happened today that I'm kind of sad for what went on today. A little bit, but I'm also not sad at the same time. It's at the point of the thing that happened. Basically, one of the it was probably at least bound to happen at some point, but pretty much Charlie Kirk pretty much got shot today. was shot at an event going on down in Utah Valley State, um, in Utah, and of course, um, the event that went on, uh, ended up getting critically injured, got sent to the hospital. Still haven't found the guy who was reportedly shot him, um, and hurting innocent life and innocent people, um, is not like like he may be having wrong things. He may not agree with the things that he said. We may not like these right wing people or left wing or whoever. It, it it doesn't solve the issue at hand. No issue is solved by violence. Um, it doesn't matter. Like you may play like people will go out there and still will claim video games or claim probable cause for something that's so heinous, because in reality, um, in reality, it's not anything that we should be praising. We shouldn't be praising things like that. We shouldn't be making violence a thing to go after people. It doesn't matter. I don't care because I don't care if whoever you are in your political ideals and your thing. Just there are a lot of people that some people want dead because they are out there, but we shouldn't act on those things. We shouldn't make those things the absolute parent decision on any on anything. These decisions should not be made to harm anybody, including children, especially children. Of course, there are a lot of um there's this earlier thing that I was talking about where um violence exists. And look, I was watching a thing in Norway where um I like to watch a lot of. I just stumbled upon it. I happened to stumble upon it on Facebook, and then went down a rabbit hole and found Somerset, Norway. Summeroy, should say, not Somerset, Summeroy. And basically, I went up there, and in Norway, and they have guns. And not Summeroy itself, but there was another place up there in Norway that kind of follows that same moniker, where um, basically what happens up there is they have a lot of polar bear attacks and bear things, and it's just, you know. But then again, those same guns that we have here, we should be using them for those same purposes, to defend ourselves, and yet we use them for violence, yet we use them for other things, and we're gonna have a lot of claim on photo mode. I'm gonna take it. I kind of want it this side of the building. Okay, I guess I'll take a picture of that or that side there, but didn't mean to do that. Take a wider shot. Okay. We've got a little bit of there. I haven't decided. Okay, so now I'm gonna come back this way. I know it says it's unable to connect, but we're gonna go to media. We're gonna now switch it to the other side of this. We'll take a little bit of there. Alright. Okay. So, and I'm going to really say that no, it's violence of no. Okay, I thought you needed to. You needed to turn someplace else. But there's also some other things that that you look at it and it's like I don't really want to hurt anybody, to be truthful. Hurting people is not right, but also at the same time, knowledge is key, and knowing what to say and what's the truth sometimes does hurt. Knowing the truth can hurt somebody, and it hurts a lot, and not like the same thing as like not releasing the Epstein files and saying that they're hoax or whatever. It hurts them because they know it's a lie. They know it's not the truth. It's the same thing when a Democrat does the exact same thing. They go on hours and hours on end for doing the same thing that Trump's doing through all of his nonsense. It's like you're blatantly. It's like I don't go and make it my whole entire day just to go out and say, oh, Biden's doing this or Biden's doing that or Biden is an issue or the thing. I will call it out if Biden does something horrible, or if Donald Trump or whoever, if there's any problems with it. I'm not going to go out there and not support a thing that basically if one side's going after the other, it's not worth it, because it in a sense of making it like your life's endeavor to do it. Like we are making life's endeavor. We do the same thing. Democrats and Republicans do the same thing. Okay? But they go on and on about the Epstein files. Well, the only reason why they didn't go on and why they didn't make it a such a thing is because it's not like oh, fruit. Fruit. For it. And then it's like it's no way, shape, or form should something like that go on. It's like if somebody dies, it at the same time, when somebody dies like Charlie, or somebody dies because for political motivations, you shouldn't be doing it towards violence. If somebody dies because of a medical malpractice or um, medical issue or something, it's gonna be less. It's gonna be more. It's like it's so sad to see people die, but I am somebody that doesn't see that I do cry, and I do. I'll admit I do cry, and it's one of those things where I tie more tears of happiness than I do tears of sadness. It's sad to see when people die, but if I don't know them very well, it's really not as hard as it is if I knew the person. You know? And so, like, people shouldn't be going out there utilizing, on a lot of issues. There's a lot of things. So, here's what I'm going to do right now, though. Just in case, live 9/10/2025. Um, and so like we shouldn't be glorifying political violence or glorifying things like that. Now, of course, there's going to be violence no matter what we do. You may say you want to stop people playing video games. Um, you want to put out there and blame video games on something. I did a whole piece where I was supposed to write about a 10-page paper on a topic of my choosing, and I went and tried to figure out and write a 10-page paper on video game addiction. I couldn't even get 10 pages because at the time there is not, like, video game addiction is real, but it's not like it's like you go and complain and say that video games are bad for people, because it does. There are times where anything can become an addiction. Anything can turn anything can make somebody different by politicizing, by basically going out and virtually looking at Grand Theft Auto, for example. There are a lot of people out there that have probably played Grand Theft Auto that have done things in real life that they shouldn't have done in real life. But there's also these issues that, they get out there, and they said it before with TV. Like, where's the outrage when I see violence on TV? News putting out the violence. News putting this out there. And yet, every time I hear this thing, every time I hear it, I hear nothing. I hear no outrage about that being shown on TV. I hear no outrage when it's a book, and it's a book that fits the narrative for them, but when it fits the narrative for somebody else, and teaching political, and not having teaching about violence, like you want to ban certain books that fit only what you want people to learn, and it's no right either. Because you may think that what you're doing does not constitute a lot of issues. Violence, because, I can sit here and play this game and continue to go and find ways to create chaos. Okay? It's not as glorified in here, but if I go in and do that, and I said, I'm just going to continue to hit vehicles every time, and it's only going to cost me $700 euros, then it's going to incentivize that people can hit anything, and just by virtually changing the way that the game is intended to be played. Okay? It's like you can do that with a lot of things, but if violence violence in a video game or violence on TV does not constitute any issues with correlation. So there's many factors that go on There are many factors that go on with people and their decisions that they make. Everybody has, there's a lot of things. It's like if you want to still commit violence, you can still go and commit it and still have that, and still have still have not played Grand Theft Auto, not played a single video game, not watched TV, not read a book, and you can still do it because there's still going to be that instance of, or turning off rate. It's like if you take one of those things away from somebody, it's not going to stop the political violence. Because if that were the case, then we wouldn't stop the violence, and we wouldn't have had wars and violence going on back in the day, before all this technology. It may have been less then, right? But we still have it. There were still wars. Wars were managed. It still happened. Violence existed. You cannot change by removing video games, because if you go back 40 to 50 years, without video games there was still violence. You go before the internet, okay? Let's say you go back to the 1950s. Violence still existed. It just may not have been publicized and it may not have been so rampant as it is today because of what people see on the internet. Because the internet is going to be an addiction. Just sheer going on the internet. Like, there is still going to be, anything that you do is still going to have political care. Care is still getting in the crosshairs by politicians because they don't seem to really understand a lot of things. Alright guys, so it's still going to exist no matter what you do. No, we're going to load a later save. It does not save a lot of people by, if you start saying you want to get rid of it here in America, well, guess what? You start getting rid of things. Guess what? That violence is still going to exist because of a few things. One, violence is still going to exist around the world. Just because you shield people from the world doesn't mean that, that there's going to be some sort of inherent violence, and it exists. It's like it exists in Russia, it exists in North Korea, it exists in these places that don't have access to the internet because of some issue going on. It happens everywhere, and you can't stop it. You can mitigate it, you can reduce that as much as you can, but you aren't going to stop it because you're just shifting. Basically, you're just going to shift the blame on something. You want to blame something for your problems, and not actually try to reduce that or fix that in a way by say you get rid of something. It increases in these other countries like UK, no gun violence, but they have knife violence. I've said this many times, but violence is just nothing that we should be doing. It doesn't matter who you are. We may not like Charlie Kirk for who he is, but Charlie Kirk is somebody that, if you do that, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna continue? You're still gonna find ways to argue with somebody, and you're gonna argue with somebody because that the argument's still gonna exist because somebody else is gonna take his place. Somebody else is gonna take the place of it, and you're still gonna have that problem. You're still gonna have that. Well, guess what? That problem that you decided that you were going to get rid of, that problem's not going away. That problem's still going to exist. We just have to educate people and learn and make better judgment and start educating people about the rights and the things, and start actually doing better about educating people and not doing violence. You know, we have to start educating people on not making these problems worse, because violence doesn't solve any issue. Speaking and learning and growing from what we can learn is we may make poor decisions on not wanting to we may not want to understand the LGBTQ community or understand a community of that nature, but we can understand people, we can understand these things if we we can understand these people if we make more conscious effort to teach rather than show our force in utilizing violence. Now, of course, there are some bad things going on. Garage Manager. Let me look at. Okay, so Berlin. I am the only one that does not have that. I do not have the mega space. But we have the Scania S high roof from Frederick. Scania high S roof. We do not have that available. So we'll keep an eye on our Scanias. Because we're gonna basically go with the Scania S here soon. To fill in spots. To fill in that spot so we can get another driver going, because we need to get further into our career, making money, bringing money in. I know TikTok probably doesn't like me talking about that topic, and I know YouTube kind of is the same way. And I'm going to tell you, it's one of those things where oh, excuse me. It's no it's no form of those things going on, and I'm going to shift gears and get off of this political content stuff, and talk about PlayStation. Now, of course, for those of you who are looking at getting a PlayStation or getting a new PlayStation, remember, brand new. If you get a slim PlayStation, or you get a PlayStation, that PlayStation is going to get what I get now on my PlayStation initially. If you live in Europe right now, but I think that's going to slowly start rolling out to other countries and start shifting. It's going back to it's basically not putting a terabyte, which a terabyte should be used in. I, I would basically make a system where it's always the minimum requirement to build a system has to be 100 terabytes. I mean 1 terabyte basically minimum. Any system that has to, they have to do 1 terabyte. Um, and if you get this storage, like you have to, you really have to think about that. The 800, I only have about 600 gigabytes to use, or so. Basically, I have about 800 gigabytes. I have like a little bit of less gigabytes to use, but when I have, right now I only have enough to install Call of Duty, Diablo 2, Resurrection, Planet Coaster 2, and I think another game I have installed. And that's all I have installed. I don't have any more of these games to play. Like, I cannot go back and install Modern Warfare 3. Oh, and I have Fortnite installed. Sorry, I had Fortnite installed too. And the games that take up the most space is Fortnite and Call of Duty Black Ops 6. And everything else takes, and all of this just reduces the ability for me to play a game or play any ounce of these things. It takes time to like, the more storage you have, the better you're gonna off to put more games on it. They want it. I wish that they would keep it that way, not change the way that they do things. And if you want to get a storage, make sure that it says it's 5,000 make 5,000 read and write speed transfer, basically 5,000 transfers per second on a hard drive, so you can get it onto that PS5. It's gotten a lot cheaper. Hard drives have gotten cheaper over the years, and you know, you know, um, there we go. I did not pay attention to when I needed to rest. You know, um, And storage is one of those things that you have to really take into consideration on what you do and what storage you have to um, build upon, and make sure that you build your system. Like if you build a computer, you're going to want to make sure that you have more storage. If you're someone that plays a lot of video games, you want to have not just a 1 terabyte. You want to have enough terabytes you want to have like a 3-4 terabyte hard drive on that secondary. Is ideal, but it may not be what you can get. You might have that your main drive should be a minimum of 1 terabyte, and then for your OS, and then extended drive should be 5 gigabytes, terabytes. If you can't afford it, like at least having at least a 2 terabyte drive is a good idea in general, but is great too. But more storage is better than having no storage at all. Hey. Alright. Alrighty, let's get some rest. Um, and then you got Intel over here, guys. Um, in the technology space, um, we got an issue with Intel right now. If you guys don't remember the 13th and 14th gen stuff going on, I know, I know that the Intel, it was basically 13th and 14th gen was a lot worse than they imagined it to be. I think what the problem is one of the things why I'm going to tell you why I don't want Intel right now. If I was building a computer, I don't want Intel, I don't want NVIDIA right now, because if I was in the mood to building a computer today, I would tell you to go full AMD. Specifically, I tell you because I would rather tell you your you're somebody that needs to think about the longevity of their system, and not be forced to fall out. And the reason why I say I'm not going to tell you to go Intel, because of the reasons why of 13th and 14th gen. They had a major issue. The government's now got 10% stake in it. Um, and it's no fun. No, and it's no fun to have a computer fail on you and be screwed over. AMD used to be that way. AMD used to be something. AMD used to be where their chips would run hot. People would still stick with it, and it's your choice. I am telling you not to go buy Intel, because of their issues. I would not going by NVIDIA because their graphics, their drivers are falling apart. Um, it makes me wonder. It makes me wonder if their drivers are falling apart. Like, I went and watched Jay's 2 cents videos on this. I usually pay attention to Jay's 2 cents and these other. Um, and it comes to a point of when you're seeing depreciable value, it's like you usually want to improve the performance, not degrade that performance. I don't want to see a GPU when I buy it day one. This is why I won't buy a computer brand new parts like right away. This is why I will wait a little bit before they iron out things. Um, if you desperately need a computer now, go for it. Maybe look last gen on NVIDIA. Look into um look into going AMD. Look into having these various points throughout and learning all about what goes on, and be more mindful about what you buy, and instead of just going out there and buying because you see it and it looks good, and that you cannot just go out there and buy these computers based on data day one, or buy these shoes that you buy without reading the reviews. Don't go, like, if there are no reviews on the product, that might be a little bit different than and you have to really think about everything. Like, if there's no reviews on something, you know, if if you're gonna go out and buy, like, I went out and bought my computer. Like, there were parts in this computer that I could have purchased a little bit better. Of course, I could have bought a better case instead of buying the Vetru, but I bought the Vetru case because I bought the because I went to their website and bought everything. I bought the case, I bought the case fans, because I went to their website to buy the Vetru V5 cooler because I heard that it was actually pretty good. So I went and bought that cooler, and it's working just fine for me today. I don't run this computer to its max. I don't play I don't play a lot of graphically intensive games or things. I mostly play a lot of indie titles. The only games that I do play a lot is Call of Duty, and even then, Call of Duty is kind of one of those things where I can't even play it on this computer anyways. Because it's like, I don't want to, like, the thing is, but the case did not have any reviews, fans did not have anything, but but I went to buy it anyways because, like, and then I got the wrong cooler, because I was supposed to get a pink cooler to come in, and instead I got a black cooler, and I'm like, okay, whatever. I still got the Vetru V5. I wanted the Vetru V5 buy it, and I still ended up getting for those parts. And the motherboard, it's like the motherboard. Like, I went and bought an Asus ROG G motherboard that did not come with Wi-Fi, but it was one of those things where when I bought the computer, I bought it at the point of didn't need Wi-Fi for it, didn't need internet at all for this, because I had access to the Ethernet port, and I should have thought about that as an extra precaution. I should have thought about it and bought it when I did, in part of my list, but that never happened because I didn't think I needed it. You know, it was one of those things that was an aftermarket thought. You know, I know how to build a computer. I've tried to build this computer myself, and I ended up just frustrated. I had somebody else help me build it, and I paid a little bit more for it. I should have at that time never bought Windows for it, but I did. And you know, I'm one of those people that but at the time I didn't think Intel would be as bad as it is. I mean, Windows would be as bad as it is, because, you know, Intel, we're having a lot of technological issues. You know, we have graphical issues there. We have computer chips blowing up, or dying, failing. And then having Windows drive failure, the drives being failed on Windows, and it's just ridiculous to see a lot of these things falling apart because of AI. And AI is like, everybody thinks AI is the greatest thing. AI is not great. I will admit, right now AI is kind of one of those things where I don't mess with it very often. I don't mess with it because it's not one of it's those things where if I cannot find what I'm looking for through, like, the first page on Google or the first page on Start Page or whatever, because I'll use Start Page first, and then I'll go check Google just to make sure that the results are right, because if I'm not quite for sure, but I'll end up using both, and end up and then if I can't find the answer, I'll end up going to use Chat GPT and see if the chat GPT is something that is done right. Um, and there's this issue and a lot of Intel problems and facing these things head on. It's like it'll be pushing time. Time but it's no thanks Vamut Mamute for joining the TikTok live. Thank you, if that's how you pronounce your name. But it's like you look at the issues with that, it's a problem. And then we have more problems going on. We have ICE raids going on, taking citizens. ICE raids now giving the opportunity that basically the 6-3 the Conservative Party. Basically, if I was president, because they basically told me that I get immunity. Basically, like if I was president right now, I would basically go out and I would arrest all 6 justices for blatantly following a dictator, and I would arrest anybody who has committed the treasonous of going against the Constitution and blatantly going against it to fit their narrative and continue to support it. And it's not, and it's like there are some good Republicans out there that I would not arrest, but it'd be mostly those who are blatantly wanting to basically not release certain files. Basically anybody who was put in under Donald Trump or who praises him would pretty much go to jail for, basically would be relieved of their duties, to be honest. Not jail, not anything, they're just relieved of their duties because that's somebody who I am. I'm not going after to just say it's political. It isn't. Because I'm going to tell you, as I would go up there and I said, even if I did this as a Republican, even if I was Republican, I'd still do the same thing. I'd go out there and do the same thing and say, it because guess what? It's a problem. Let me check the bank. I could pay off one of these now, but we're only on 3 days in on this. I'm going to wait a little bit. We'll pay it off at some point, but I want to get the get it full. Um, Remember that occasional driver that's slow. Actually, okay, if I go that way, it doesn't make any difference. So, I'll just go this way with it and try to make sure that if is there another way I can get there from here if I made a slight mistake, 'cause I'm not gonna go back up. You know, and it's one of those things where so it's like when you look at things and the trouble that we get into is, you know, ICE got into trouble with ICE too today. You know, we're not getting an I didn't get no not whatever. I made sorry I made meant to say is that we shouldn't be getting into um that we're getting into a lot of dangerous things with ICE because ICE is not doing what they're originally supposed to do. They are basically putting anybody into concentration camps. Doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter. I don't care. I'm calling them concentration camps. People can call them detention centers all they want, but I'm calling it as it is. Um, and we have to really think that, you know, they're not going to protect anybody that's transgender. They're going to harm them because there's like these 6 new anti-trans legislations in Congress, basically for banning military from sports. Basically, they're going to do it basically signed by gender now, and I'm like, men and women are supposed to be working side by side together instead of working to go against each other in sports. It's like men and women should be playing the same sports in military. That they're basically going to do assigned bathrooms at military bases or whatnot, and it's like they have no constitution of protecting the community. They want to not only that, they want to harm the institution of the trans community because they think the trans community is a horrible piece of garbage, that they're a bad human beings when in reality they're not. It's the same thing. It's like you have to really think about this. It's those couple of things that I always say is, yes, you may not like the uh, you may not like the You may not like the gay community either, because and you want to get rid of it because you think that the gays are harming society. When 99 times out of 10, like I always say, is they're not harming community. They're they're not a harmful community. Um, they're not anything more harmful than a gun in somebody's hands, or you get rid of the gay community, and you take away the gays, you take away the LGBTQ community. You're not going to be able to solve that issue. You won't be able to. You cannot solve the issue in one night. You cannot round up people overnight and expect to still have crime. You think that they would commit crime? Well, guess what? There still can be crime committed. Because now people aren't going to go outside, that crime's now being committed online, and you will now have to think about that, but then you don't think about the issues that go at hand with all of the major these issues, and all these problems still arise and still make problems within society, and you can say ICE is whatever, doing their job, but they're not, because and military should not be used for like I am somebody that if you are a politician, or you are thanks Hug the Goal for joining. The last thing I'm going to say on this before I do hop off is that nothing in society will be able to fix the violence that's out there. Violence is still going to happen, but we can try to reduce that. We can try to reduce it as much as we can, but military should not be the solution. People there's a lot of people out there in the United States Capitol in DC over there. There's still things there's still things that can be that are violent offenders out there, but they're not really as much as violent offenders, more than, say, you take that and you will correct this country. You aren't correcting this country when you're forcing people to live a certain way, forcing people to follow that same standard everywhere you go and saying that you want to get rid of, you're going to say using that to get rid of violence by using the military. Forcing people to live in fear of what could happen is not going to solve the issue of somebody still committing violence. It may not happen here, but it will still happen. And then eventually, at some point, the United States is going to get attacked at some point because of all the rhetoric that Trump is complicitly doing, and everybody's ignoring him. Vast majority of the major countries that are allies with us are going to soon become not allies, and then once we start getting meddled, like if Trump's not gonna if Trump continues to bow down to NATO to allow Putin to do what he wants, and basically they're gonna constitute the United States as a enemy instead of an ally at some point, and then basically when if Trump ever decides to go and help Russia in their endeavors, the United States is going to get attacked at some point because by economically, they're already doing that in Canada, by not coming to the United States. If you are a Canadian citizen, I don't care if you have anything thing here, coming here to America, stay away. Stay away from America right now. Because right now, if you are coming to America, cancel your trips. Find a way to cancel them and stay out. Because I don't want you getting caught up and being caught up in these ice raids, because Canadians are getting swept up in this. There are a lot of people getting swept up who are not a citizen, and then people who are citizens. I will tell you, I talked about this earlier in my stream. The Charlie Kirk thing, like, I will tell you, like, I will tell you, I am a left-leaning person. I will say that I am a Democrat fully, but killing somebody just because you don't like their political views, just because you don't like somebody, is no way, shape, or form a good idea. It doesn't matter if he had it coming. It shouldn't have happened in the first. It doesn't matter. It shouldn't have happened. Guns do not solve our issues. Okay, I was watching a thing earlier today where guns do protect people, in sense of Norway. I was watching something in Norway where they have a whole lot of polar bears. And they, like, if you go out, you have really attacks and there's attacks in all of this, and they have to have the guns to protect them. Yeah, it might not have happened if you cared about gun control, but the problem is, when you look at gun control, as somebody who has learned a little bit more about understanding guns, having gun control and banning guns are two different things. Okay, having some sense of gun control, like they do in Switzerland. Like, I heard, like, somebody, I think it was Midas Touch. I heard on Midas Touch, I think, or David Pacman. I can't remember, one of the two. But in Switzerland, they have guns, and basically they have it controlled. Yes, I am a Democrat. But I am not somebody that's a far left Democrat. There are a couple of things that I do not stand with the Democrats on. Gun control in the way that they want it. And I don't believe in climate change. Those are the only two things that are there. And no, you don't have to be a full-on left-leaning person to have a centrist view on things. You don't have to be, like, I'll tell you, I used to be a Republican, believing everything that a Republican stood for, and tried my best to really think about what the Republicans were doing. But then I found a lot of things that really didn't correlate with a lot of things that I kind of really didn't like what they were doing, and I saw the writing on the wall that they were going to end up supporting Trump. You can be a Republican and not support Trump. You can be a Democrat and not support Biden. You can be a Democrat and not support a candidate because you may think that they're great now, but they may not be great 4 years down the road or whatnot, or they end up changing their ways because nothing ever gets done. The more that they stay in power, the longer that they're going to be greedy for it. And basically, it's the one thing is, like, I don't like it when I see people utilize, like, I kind of align myself more with Bernie, and Bernie is I'm kind of like, let me reiterate, if I will tell you, I stand on with vaccine mandates. If for vaccines, and vaccines are something that I stand with. What protecting a child? I stand with abortion only when it's necessary, only when it's absolutely necessary. Not the way that Democrats believe that it should be. But at the same time, at the same time, I also do agree with some of the things that Democrats believe in with abortion too, because there's both sides of the coin. It's like abortion is necessary, but a lot of time, 9 times out of 10, a lot of the abortions were not happening the way the Republicans were saying it. And yes, abortion shouldn't be done just willy-nilly and out there, but when you start restricting somebody to be able to make a decision on abortion, what? If it's YK, I don't get what YK is. Thanks, Aubrey, though. I don't understand what the YK stands for. It's the same thing where I stand with being able to make a decision. And yes, I understand that we shouldn't be using abortion for federal taxes or whatever. Some people will say that, but it's like, I don't care. Okay, I just had to make sure, but it's like a child shouldn't be forced into carrying a child because an adult happened to do it to that child. An adult shouldn't have to go through it if it's rape, but you can't go and use the Republicans' way of viewing things when they do that. Somebody who ends up getting rapes cannot go through and get the care that is absolutely needed to protect, because but you go and look at what the lefts are doing. Basically, you do that. Yes, there are going to be times where you let abortion happen. There are, like the way that the Democrats want it, there are going to be times where it's going to be used in an unconventional way, or used when it shouldn't be used. But that's just the price that we pay when parents need to make that decision. It should be left up to the parent, the person who's carrying it, and the doctor, instead of the government controlling us. Vaccine mandates are things that absolutely protect America more than it does. Just because, somebody who, like me, who has autism doesn't constitute that a protection from getting vaccinated. Like, if you get vaccinated, you aren't going to get autism. You're not going to get it, because most of the time autism is so vastly outraged. There are people out there that get misdiagnosed with autism. There are people out there that get misdiagnosed with a mental illness that isn't really absolutely a mental illness. And then there are people out there that do get diagnosed with it, and they have a mental illness, and that's fine. We just have to learn to understand each other and work together, instead of not getting vaccinated and then letting everybody die. Because the more people that we protect, and protecting our children, that's the biggest thing, is I want to protect children, and vaccines protect children. They don't harm children. A lot of times the COVID vaccine, nobody's perfect. No vaccine's perfect, nothing. There are going to be times where there are people going to die because of they eat the wrong kind of food and they weren't supposed to, or somebody made a mistake and they die because of a dispute at home or whatever. It's all going to happen at some point, but we can learn to manage by controlling the way that we do, by paying attention to what's going on, and paying attention instead of just getting rid of social media. Sometimes getting rid of social media isn't going to solve the problem of mental illness. It isn't going to solve it. We just have to know that we need to be better looking out for it and better understanding it, so that they can get the help that they need. And being able to get the help that they need, it's like, you look at people who need the mental health. There are people out there that just misjudge people for. I was reading an article earlier about this guy that looked like he was a gang and looked like that he was somebody that was really a bad person, but was not. Was a veteran who was taking care of a guy's little kid, and that little kid was there to basically be was basically the uncle, but the father had done some horrible things in war and got himself into jail, and basically this guy was there and tasked into protecting his little kid and making sure that had a father figure in the picture, and just made sure that things were there. And people judge people for just what they wear. You know, you judge people, you look at them, and it's like you judge their skin color, you judge everything. It's not your place to judge people. It's you have to look at the actions and the things that they take, rather than looking at somebody the way that they dress. Looking at somebody dressed inappropriately, like wearing things that are provocative, that may not be appropriate. It's like you go to a drag show. It's like whatever. Like if a drag show's not going to, most of the time drag shows aren't going to be provocative. If they allow kids, there are, like, you go and you play Fortnite. There's provocative things on Fortnite that aren't drag queen related. You can't stop these things, but you can learn and teach your kids about them, and help them learn and grow to understand that these things aren't right. But they still have to learn. They still need to have some chance to be able to learn things and grow. And by doing that is giving them different points of view and having them to learn both sides of the coin. That's why I will tell you, it's like, I don't like listening to Fox News, but I listen to Fox News occasionally, listen to some right-wing article, and that I also do a lot with that, but as well with the left and mainstream media too. But I mainly listen to the thing of that. I've listened to basically independent media, Midas, David, Aaron in the Morning, LGBTQ Nation, listening to Ty Turner, and listening to a lot of Tennessee Brando, Brian Tyler Cohen, and Ring of Fire. All of these people who are somewhat left-leaning. They're not completely left-leaning. I don't listen to completely listening to everything that the left says, because the lefts don't tell the truth all the time either. Rights don't tell the truth all the time either. But I lean more towards left because I lean with the LGBTQ community, and I lean with wanting to protect them because of their decisions and decisions that we need to protect them. And abortion, yes, abortion should be, we shouldn't be doing it, just using it willy-nilly, but at the same time, not allowing abortion, there's going to be a consequence that somebody's going to, because of the issue with abortion, somebody's going to get hurt or die because they couldn't get the care because of the abortion not being readily available for them to get it. And we're having to go back to not being doctor approved or doctor protected. There are times where we have to just, maybe instead of banning it, just make sure that we advocate a lot of it, make them go through some things before they make that decision, but not banning it, or limiting it by it, but just making sure that the resources are available to learn before they make that decision as a last resort, and just make sure that there's still other ways to do it, and that, but still allowing abortion, because of course 21 weeks, Roe v. Wade is the thing that I really think that should be done properly and done right. But the biggest one that I will never vote a Republican or vote anybody. I don't care what your political views are most of the time, unless you are. There are four things that I will stand my ground on. And these 4 things I will stand on: making sure that the LGBTQ community is protected. If you're not going to protect the LGBTQ community, you're automatically not going to get my vote. If you are out there to stand up there and to protect Donald Trump and to help him in his endeavors, or to help them, or help them in forcing things like that, or doing what Project 2025 is, I am not going to support you. If you're going to be somebody that's going to stand and be willing to help those who are in need, the homeless, being able to help the poor and the needy, then I'm going to be a little bit more in helping you. And thanks Sunburned Tiger 83 for joining. And the last thing I'm going to say before I do get off, because I have to get off, is that I'm not going to sit here and tell you, I'm not going to go out there and support you if you are somebody that's not going to somewhat go in and get us the appropriations to make good to make sure that we have good education, but to make sure that we have somewhat of these climate initiatives. Yes, I don't believe in climate change in the sense of the way the Democrats believe it, but I do believe that we should have these things protected in and making sure that we can get better air quality in these places. And I'm not talking that we're going to continue to see earthquakes, we're going to continue to see volcanoes erupting, we're going to see a lot of natural disasters happening, but we can mitigate some of the air quality in our areas and try to find ways to mitigate that and make better on that front, and making sure that we can get breathable air and make sure our quality of health is better. And that's part of the quality of health, utilizing alternative energy because we need it, not because we want to get away from coal. Because having coal power, having multiple sources of energy is better than having just one. But anyways, guys, I too talk a lot about politics, primarily, mainly if you want to see me driving here on Eurotruck. I do a run a day. I do it Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I do a job or two, depending on how long, where we end up going, how far when I get on. I usually try to get on about 3-4 o'clock, but when I saw the Charlie Kirk thing earlier today, what happened to him was not a good thing. Using words is better than using violence in any way, shape, or form. Utilizing the issues with that, it's not right. But we talk politics usually for Tuesday, Wednesday for your truck, with your truck as we drive, and then Thursday, Friday with American truck. It's not all politics though. Sometimes it is news, just gaming news, and technology as well, but mostly political right now because I wouldn't be talking about a lot about politics if it wasn't for what Trump is doing right now. And Second Amendment, we should have some regards for Second Amendment rights, but at the same time, we also need to just make sure that we have figuring out maybe we just need to instead of letting somebody get a gun right away, making sure that we go thorough checks, making sure that we do a lot of things to mitigate it. There are ways that we can do a lot of things with it. We should use what Switzerland does with their gun laws, or Sweden, one of the two countries that have really good strict gun laws that really still allow us to have guns, but we follow the strictness of that. and making sure that we have better gun laws. If we can take these gun laws and expand it, the strictest gun laws in the United States, just expand it all the way across, we'd have better. It'd be a lot better. Even in red states would be a lot better too, and a lot safer. Now that doesn't mean that, you know, it's gonna stop this, but it's gonna reduce it. But you know, UK is having more knife attacks now than they ever did. You know, just because guns don't stop violence doesn't mean that you get rid of knives doesn't stop the violence either. There's gonna be ways that people are gonna find it. You have fists, you have anything, but we need to think about the mental health of it all as well, more so than anything else, and making sure that if you do, and if you are somebody that has been found convicted of a felony or been convicted of some crime, that you shouldn't be able to, and if you've been convicted of a crime, you should not be allowed to run for president. If it's a major crime, you shouldn't be allowed to run for president. You shouldn't be allowed to run for office, because it, in the sense of, without having, unless it's like a minor crime or whatnot, like you committed a crime, we still have to make sure that if the people want it, the people want it. Okay, but I just don't want, like, if you've been found convicted or liable or found something, I don't want you in office because of the things that are going on. And it's like, I don't want somebody that's, for me, I don't want somebody that's 80 years old in the office. I'd rather have somebody that's 50, 60 years old. Somebody that's actually a lot younger. To be honest, I'd rather have somebody in their 30s than somebody in their 80s. Because somebody in their 30s is going to know a lot more about technology than these 70s, 80-year-old folk that think that you're protecting children by allowing the Online Safety Act to the COSA Act, and stuff. And the Kids Online Safety Act isn't going to protect kids, because kids are still going to find this content. As long as an adult has access, a child's going to have access. It's not going to prevent. It's not going to stop these kids doing these harmful challenges online. It's not going to. It's just going to make it even worse, because they're not going to know because these kids aren't going to know what to do without it, or a lot of other things. But anyways, I need to get off, guys. So if you want to see more content of Euro Truck, I will be back tomorrow afternoon with Euro Truck Simulator 2. Actually, no, it'll be American Truck Simulator tomorrow, at about 3-4 o'clock. Normally I was a little bit late today because of the Charlie Kirk thing. If you want to see non-political content, I do not, unless it's really major breaking, something that's really important, I won't talk about it at night, which you guys can check at about 9 o'clock at night. It'll be from 9 till 2 a.m. except for Saturdays. And we are currently right now playing Fortnite, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Then Fridays is Call of Duty Black Ops 6 Zombies. And then Saturday and Sundays, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 Multiplayer. But right now, that's actually, that's what it's normally supposed to be. But right now, we're going back to some older Call of Duties, because I've got the Battle Pass done in Black Ops 6. And then we're going to hop into, on Monday is Call of Duty Zombies, because I'm working on camos in Black Ops 6 to getting those things done. So, if you guys want to see any of that, that's a great place to do it. Remember, I usually am on a Saturday, is the only night that I'm not on until 2. I'm on till 1, but everywhere else it's from 9 to 2. So, anyway, we will catch you guys tomorrow. Remember, hit that follow here on TikTok and Trovo. And also, if you guys want to hit that subscribe here on YouTube, make sure you guys do that as well. Hit that bell notification with the all, so you can stay up to date. It's not perfect, but it does help you getting more information to you, and know when I do go live. If you don't see me live at 3, check back at 4. If you don't see me live at 4, then check my socials. I rarely post on my socials anyways, and I do have them there. So anyway, and then if you guys would like to subscribe to my Trovo. Trovo is not free, however, on Trovo you do get to watch my past live streams for that, and also on my YouTube side of things, you do not get to subscribing is for free. Becoming yeah, anyway. And if you enjoyed the stream, remember guys, share this out. If you're on YouTube, share it out. It's great. If you're here on TikTok, always share it out when you can. I don't push it as much because I let you guys know how to do it. You guys know what to do with that one. But if you enjoyed it, hit that like. And we will